We all have our moments of thought, and one of my recent ones happened while playing Gorilla Tag. It was during a game of Public Infection, and I seriously realized how much I missed being unskilled at the game. And I'm not talking about when pros pretend to be new for reactions. No, I'm talking about when I just got the game, because one of my first times ever on VR was spent on Gorilla Tag. And I don't think I'm alone in that either. Let's get more specific. What I'm saying is that I've unintentionally made a trade-off that a lot of other players also have. I like to divide Gorilla Tag's community into two rough groups, the casual players and the competitive players. And I know that what makes someone competitive is a little bit of a gray area, so I'll be operating under this definition. A Gorilla Tag player with an above average skill level and mindset. The "and" mindset part is what makes the real difference between just a good player and a competitive player. Now, back to the trade-off I mentioned earlier. This trade-off is the reason why some people prefer minigames and role-playing, and why some people prefer scrims and infection. It's the trade-off of prioritizing skill level versus prioritizing the social aspects of the game. But before my next point, here's 4 in-game interviews I did on this topic. I interviewed 2 competitive players and 2 casual players, and here are the answers I got. So my only question is, do you feel nostalgic or miss the time you were new at the game?
Kind of.
Kind of?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the only question is, do you feel nostalgic or miss the time you were new at the game?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty little, but yeah, I really miss that time.
Yeah, well thank you, man. Okay, do you feel like you missed the time when you were new at the game?
Overall, kind of.
Kinda, sorta, not really?
Actually, no.
Okay.
Yeah, not really.
Okay, so the only question is, do you often feel nostalgic, or do you miss the time when you were new at the game?
Not really.
Okay. So, both of the competitive players answered yes, whereas both of the casual players answered no. This is definitely interesting, but what does it mean for the bigger question? I think a good place to start is figuring out why the two groups answered differently. So, let's start by analyzing what makes their gameplay different. First, the casual player. The casual player, fittingly, usually plays in the casual game mode, but sometimes goes in infections to gather players for role-playing or minigames. Next, the competitive player. The competitive player joins the game, warms up in a casual private lobby, then hops into competitive queue on infection. Certainly, 2 very different games of Gorilla Tag. But what do these differences mean for the bigger question we're trying to answer? Well, to answer that, here's why I think the 2 groups answered differently. Firstly, the casual player answered no for the reason that their game mode is, by itself, pretty parallel to that of a new player. Also, the sheer amount of differences between the 2 sides can create its own answer to this. The casual player is under a lot less pressure. To answer what I mean by this, I'm going to go off topic for a bit and explain why the 2 different ways to play Gorilla Tag are both fun in their own way. The casual experience is usually only fun because of other players. The casual player signs on to Gorilla Tag and likes to hang out with people. The competitive player still has fun in the game, just differently. The competitive player is usually mainly about skill and game mechanics. He gets onto the game to practice and refine his skill level to the most it can possibly be, then ultimately competing with other players. So that's what I mean when I say that competitive players are always under more pressure in game, because their fun depends on whether they succeeded or not in infection. Now back to why they answered differently. The casual player knows that new players aren't under a lot of pressure like them. So when they compare themselves to the experiences they had when they were new, there's not a lot of differences. Competitive players are the opposite. Their experiences as a new player is totally and utterly different from how they have fun in the game now, which is why they often retrospect and want to go back to a time when there was less pressure in the game. So is that it? Is that why comp players miss being new? Well, yes. Sort of. That reason is definitely a huge role in figuring out why, but certainly not the full story. So I'm going to rapid fire a few smaller reasons with a little bit of elaboration. Reason 1. When you were new, you had fewer expectations. Nobody really expects a new player to do some crazy route every single time they were chased. The opposite of a competitive player. Reason 2. The game felt a lot less repetitive. When you were new, it was something unique and different every single time you were on the game, and everything felt fresh because of it. A sharp contrast to the repetitive game of infection at a higher level. Reason 3. There was less of a mental skill gap. From the perspective of a new player, everyone seemed equally as chaotic, which created a sense of equilibrium. Reason 4. The first time exploring. Because you haven't seen the full game, every single new environment you explored was a surprise, and you didn't know what to expect. Those are only 4 of the best reasons I could come up with, but all of them do apply to this question. Now, if I had to sum up this entire video in one sentence, it would be this. Being new in Gorilla Tag meant there was a lot to discover, and it's kind of a hard pill to swallow that you can only be truly new to the game one time. And as always, thanks for watching.
Hey guys, this is a new game that was on early access, and so I'm gonna try to be making it up there.